Loaded up a Game Heart Light map before. That's okay. It'll just take a couple extra seconds to load. So for those who don't know, by the way, Game Heart Light, basically, it's the exact same game for the players. They don't see any of the logos. The game is no different from them at all from a regular map. The one small difference is there's a small bug with turrets having a funny color, like Terran missile turrets, but that's it. Outside of that, it's the exact same game. Nothing has changed. It's simply an interface for the observers to make it a little more interesting to look at. And Doom, don't jump on the fail bandwagon, please. You're gonna break my heart.
Got it. Doing it right, okay.
I used to have this really cool emoticon that had no meaning to it, and now everyone's like, ugh, fail, ugh. It breaks my heart. But okay, Twitch shenanigans aside, folks, this is the first best of 3 of the last ZOTAC Cup of the year. I am proud to be joined by Doom Esports today, and spawning here in the lower right corner of the map, playing for the Team Acer. She is, of course, at the Acer Team Story Cup. I believe the finals are being weighted. They're doing the losers bracket today, so her and her teammates are kind of having some fun with ZOTAC. It is, of course, Scarlett.
And her opponent in the blue trunks, the bright blue trunks. I believe it's Team Fealty.
Yep.
It is Spartfire.
Never heard of Fealty, never heard of Spartfire. But I do want to reiterate, guys, I don't know who he beat to get here, but this whole day was stacked to the rafters, dude. We had the best players from Europe. We had a lot of Koreans stop in. The fact that Spartfire even made it here, yes, he might be an unknown player, but I say kudos to him.
Kudos indeed. And what better practice than to play against Scarlett? I mean, you probably play her on ladder a handful of times if you're, in the upper Grandmaster League on a barcode account, but you don't really know it's Scarlett. But now you know exactly. You could put a face to the name, you could put a face to the builds, and you can really show us what you got here, because there's really nothing to lose. I mean, 100 EU on the line, 100 euros on the line here, but it's more like I think it's more like a pride thing here when you got a best of 3. You got a decent shot at taking down the Queen of Blades. You bring your best builds to the table, Rifkin, and you really just go into man mode. It's like going one-on-one.
I love that concept. You're just like, all right, bring it, clamp your fists together and be like, bring it on.
Bring it. He's gonna bring it here, going for this early gas.
Well,
Drop down that ling speed very quickly.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, ZVZ can be incredibly volatile no matter how good you are. Even if you are Acer Scarlett, the reality is a couple bad baneling hits can ruin your day. That being said, you don't see Scarlett mess up her baneling control too often. Her circling control is always some of the best. It's not going to be easy for Spartfire, but I think, going for this earlier speed, getting that aggression perhaps set up, might be his best bet to really try and take a game off her. Again, it's a best of 3. It's not a best of 1 anymore, so a little bit of different dynamic, to say the least.
Yeah, I almost want to say it's an older build going for this rushed metabolic boost, because I've seen this kill Zergs before, just literally rush in there with a ton of speedlings, and there's nothing, I mean nothing you can do to defend against it. There's that cool trick we can put the queen in between the hatch and the spawning pool. Thank you for teaching me that a while ago, Rifkin. But
I know, advanced tactics, next level.
I think Scarlett at least must have played Spartfire before, has some tape on her, because she's throwing down the spine crawler uber quickly here.
I don't know this necessarily because she's played Spartfire before, but again, like I said, you can always kind of expect someone, that's the thing, when you're the king or the queen in Scarlett's case, you can expect them to be doing wild, crazy things to try and take you down a peg. And with 2 queens on the ramp, with a spine crawler for defense, a baneling nest coming up in that spot, in that perfect little nook there, she should be fine to hold anything off. Now, here come those lings hatched out with speed, ready to roll. Baneling nest is not quite done yet, but Spartfire is going to have it done here in just a moment's time. Scarlett's own speed will not be finished for a while, but that's okay, because speed doesn't actually add any damage. It just adds where you can position yourself. And Spartfire, hopefully not going to have anything. When you're playing, when you're doing what Spartfire is about to do, you can't mess up in the slightest. If you're having a little bit of lag, if your mouse is dragging something, you got to make sure it's fixed.
Scarlett, very timidly. Go. Because she's seen the Ling, she knows what's coming at her, Rifkin, and can you just target down the Baneling Nest in this situation? Not with the Spine Crawler there, but...
You would love to,
queen
of course.
placement.
Yeah, exactly, you would love to, but between the Queen and the Spine Crawler, that's not going to happen, and Spartfire forced to sit outside the base for the time being. Baneling Nest did finish up. We'll probably try making some Banelings in a moment's time, I'd imagine, but Scarlett hasn't... Look at the reaction time. Like, he moves in before he even touches the creep. Scarlett pulls off her drones. Like, it's not even a question of, like, if they'll hit. It's, like, can they hit?
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, wasted time in a sense, because had the advantage with the Metabolic Boost, had the advantage with the Baneling Nest, but realized here Spartfire really isn't going to be able to get anything done. Does get a drone to pick off. That's a nice tactic here, but these Speedlings from Scarlet are just going to push them away. And transitioning out of this, Spartfire has gone for a relatively early lair, but so has Scarlet. She recognized that her opponent couldn't really do anything in that situation.
Oh, dude.
And really taking advantage of it here.
You haven't gotten to see Banelings yet today with the stronger team colors. Look at the butts of these things.
Oh my goodness, is
How
that
cool
a
is that?
flashlight on them?
Right? It looks so cool when they detonate too, because of course the explosion is hyper colorized as well. Big shouts to Ryan Stutter, or Shutter, or however I pronounce that name, the guy who made Game Heart, because he made this really cool. And people, I love too, people were complaining after StarCraft America, saying like the Banelings need to be toned down. He's like, no, this is the one thing I won't budge on.
I concur. It's beautiful.
Well, both posturing around here. Scarlett kind of realizing she doesn't really have enough to bully Spartfire to death, and Spartfire realizing that he doesn't really want to push out too far. So both resorting to drone behind this. Now, of course, double Spires are coming up on a map like Belshire. I believe it was you casting with me for the IEM qualifiers. If you recall, I think it was Kane versus Scarlett. It was Mutalisk versus, well, Scarlett looking like she was going to get destroyed, but then ended up bringing it back. Because Spore Crawlers are so cool like that. So even though it's Muta versus Muta, and even though this game can be a little anticlimactic through the actual fights, as long as both players have some Spore Crawlers down, this game will not end abruptly.
Yeah. From my Zerg confidants, I've heard that Spore Crawlers are the, or I don't know how else to phrase this. They're the tits when it comes to CVC.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But regardless, it was interesting to see that Spartfire's lair finished quicker, but the Spire tech is coming down for the same time for these players, and I think that's partly the reason because he didn't take his third and fourth gases as quick as Scarlett did, and Scarlett was just prepared as soon as it happened.
He's also a little behind on workers. I mean, when he went for that crazy amount of speedlings early on, whoa, that was close. Yeah. When he went for those crazy amount of speedlings early on, the scary thing was, oh, what is happening here? These banelings are getting so awkward. Anyways, when he went for the crazy speedlings early, he had to cut workers for it. He's not suffering because of that, but he's absolutely behind because of that. Not just right now, but I mean economically throughout the course of this game. Both players are going to go for Carapace first, the smarter upgrade, as it does reduce the glaive bounce damage as well. So for a while, people were debating, you know, is the weapons better, is the armor better? It doesn't really matter, but it was proven through mathematics and science the Carapace upgrade for Mutalisk is better in these sort of situations.
Yep. And looking at the counts here, I believe that Spartfire's, or Scarlett's going to have more mutas initially.
Yep, that third base up earlier is going to be more gas mining faster, and well, it's not a significant lead. It will eventually pull into the one or extra two Mutalisks you really need to just end the game. I mean, that's what's kind of depressing about Mutalisk fights. Really, one or two can make all the difference, but okay, there's not enough to... What is happening here with these Mutas?
I know, it's a rally. It's a rally point. It's got to be a rally point.
Oh, and it's going to cost Spartfire. That sucks. That's one Mutalisk down. And that's already a big deficit. Two Mutalisks down is even worse.
We'll get out. Just talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, guys. Like, you literally only need like one Mutalisk sometimes to win an actual battle. To win the war is a different question altogether. But what Spartfire really needs to do is try and knock Scarlett's third down. Before it was like, okay, if he just holds his, maybe he macros up. But the fact that he already lost two Mutalisks like that is going to be devastating. He's supply blocked pretty hardcore. It's 10 Mutalisks to 5. And there's no Spore Crawlers. Oh god, why are there no Spore Crawlers?
Not in the main, or not in the natural.
Not anywhere, dude.
At the third base, there's one.
Oh, one at the third, my bad. But still, even with a Queen, the Queen is not a lot of damage added onto this. The Transfuse is not as cool as I think a lot of people wish it was. And going for a bit of a counterattack, Spartfire is going to be driven off by those Banelings. So he's just in a rough spot right now, to say the least.
Very rough. And let's see if we can get some more pot shots off on those retreating Lings. And is Scarlett just going to push the issue here? I think that's her best option. I mean, even if she trades, even if she tries to go for a trade and she comes out barely on top, I think it's gonna be worth it for her because she's gonna force Spartfire behind this to not be able to make drones because he just made a big round of drones right there. Actually, as I'm just saying that, and back home, Scarlett's taking her fourth base behind this, so She knows she's got the map control. She knows she's got the unit advantage. And with his upgrades just finishing up here,
Oh,
she
the
recognizes
legs.
the fact that they're equal.
Nice bailing hit, a beautiful bailing hit, but there's still a lot of legs that make it on past. This queen should go down, but she will end up not getting much more out of this. As looks like Spartfire will clean this up. Unfortunately, the Mutalisks are going to just keep ransacking everything. Mutalisks are so good at
22 to
picking up
13.
Overlords.
22 mutas to 13 mutas here, Rifkin. And I don't know if Scarlett
It's-
actually realizes how much of an advantage she has in this situation.
Well, no, she does, but she realizes. I don't think she's been trying to confirm whether there's spore crawlers there or not. Because even with the Mutalisk deficit like this, fighting on top of a spore crawler loses you this fight in a big way. So she's been very active about moving around, making sure not to get caught, not accidentally get fungled say, on top of a spore crawler or something. Because yeah, her lead is insane.
Just staying out of range of that spore crawler in the main base. Scarlett, impeccable control currently, taking out another queen, and the spawning pool is going to fall here. Mutalisks are going to try to flank this from behind here. Scarlett's just going to retreat out as she moves into the natural with Lings.
But it's not like she's the only one. Beautiful bailing hits, by the way, but it looks like Spartfire did manage to get into the main of Scarlett. But he's not going to...
at the third, Rifkin just take down a handful of drones.
Spartfire's just in a bad way. Down workers, down Mutalisks. It's 32 to 18. It is getting out of hand. There's just no way for him to catch up, but he's not going for infestors. He's not going for fungal growth. And what really sits here confuses me is, like, why is he still not putting spore crawlers down anywhere?
Because he's making 12 Mutalisks.
But even with 12 Mutalisks, Doom, I don't like the way Spartfire's doing this. He's got to recognize he's behind. Takes a fight here a little bit awkwardly. Scarlett just going to swoop in with the Hellbats, known as Mutalisks. It looks like the reinforcements going to get here a little too late. 30.
Scarlett took down the fourth base. Yeah, Scarlett took down the fourth base of Spartfire in that and moved into the third here. Spartfire tapping out, realized got no shot, but it's only just begun. That was the first game in this best of 3 series. And Spartfire's going to have to make some adjustments from there.